I believe most, if not all of us, have asked ourselves at some point what the purpose of life is. Since the dawn of time, philosophers, scientists, and teachers have all contemplated on this idea, yet there is still no universal answer. In this video, we can analyze Ikigai, which is the Japanese concept of finding purpose in life, and just maybe you'll be able to find the answers you are looking for. So what exactly is this Japanese philosophy of Ikigai? Well, the word can be roughly translated as the reason for being, or in simpler terms, a person's life purpose. Ikigai is the happiness that comes from constantly being busy, both professionally and in our daily lives. It is the passion and talent that each of us possesses that gives our days purpose and inspires us to deliver the best version of ourselves to the world. When you find yourself losing track of time and place while engaged in an activity, you have likely found your Ikigai, aka a state known as flow. An artist could spend hours painting without stopping. In their work, the artist is entirely present. Ikigai aids us in determining the components required to enter this flow state so that we too can flow through life with purpose and fulfillment. Too often in the modern world, many people work in jobs they hate. When we do this, the misery that we associate with these activities often creeps up on us on Sunday evenings, when we start to think about the upcoming dreadful Monday morning in which we have to drag ourselves out of bed, knowing that we'll spend the next week stressed. When we arrive at work, we still experience the nostalgia for the weekend, and as soon as we begin with our tasks, we count down to the first break, and then the next, and then the next, until we can finally go home again, and repeat the process all over again the next morning. Now, this isn't a very enjoyable way to live. Think about it. Doing something we hate is a disservice to ourselves, and also to our surroundings. The good news is that we have a certain degree of control over our circumstances. The two ways you can change the situation you are in is to either change your mindset of the activity to make it more enjoyable, or to reassess your current environment and think if the thing you are currently doing is what you really want to do, and if it's not, then it's time to search for something better. To make this concept easier, you can visualize Ikigai as 4 circles that overlap. The first circle revolves around what you love. Things such as drawing, dancing, singing, reading, and many more are things that we enjoy because when we do these activities, they take us into a state of bliss and tranquility. We all engage in particular activities that make us feel good and temporarily pause our worrying so that we can simply be in the moment and pay attention to what is going on. While most of us simply refer to it as doing something we love, the concept of Ikigai refers to this as being in the flow state. This can also explain how we fall in love with people, because being with that person allows us to forget about all the other problems in our lives when we are with them, even if it's only momentarily. The second circle focuses on what you are good at. For example, some individuals are great at math, some are athletic, some are exceptional speakers, others are good at computers, and so on. I believe that everyone in the world is good at something, whether they were born naturally talented or whether they put time and effort into the thing they are good at. Everyone possesses a unique set of skills. Every person has intrinsic qualities that make them ideal for particular roles. One important thing to note is that in anything you pursue in life, you have the ability to always improve. Let's take the case of someone who wants to be a singer. When you initially start out, you could have stage anxiety or struggle to recall the lyrics to your song. But as you practice more and more, you start to build the confidence you need to overcome these obstacles. This results in a highly satisfying sensation inside of you, which is why it is such an important part of Ikigai. The third circle takes into consideration what the world needs. Our ancestors back in the day when we were hunters and gatherers functioned in a community where everyone played an important role. Some members were good at building, some were good at cooking meals, some were caretakers, and some excelled at hunting food. If one of these roles were removed from the community would not be able to properly function, which meant that everyone was valuable. However, today's modern society makes it harder to understand how important our work is to others. Nowadays, it's very normal for large corporations to assign us tasks to complete from 9 to 5 on 5 days of the week. In these settings, it might be difficult to notice the beneficial influence that our occupations have on the world. I believe that you truly need to find something to do that will create a visibly positive effect on those around you, which unfortunately is often easier said than done. The needs of the world come in many different forms. I believe that we should never judge or look down upon people based on their jobs, such as janitors, taxi drivers, fast food workers, and many others. A quote from Charles Dickens says that no one is useless in this world who lightens the burdens of another. At the end of the day, everyone plays a crucial role in our society, and without these people, we wouldn't be able to thrive. One piece of advice I can give to help you try to discover what the world needs is to look at the world from a wider point of view and ask yourself, what can I do to make it a better place? Lastly, the fourth circle takes into consideration what you can be paid for. Some may argue that money is unimportant or should not be taken into consideration. However, it is clear that money is the driving force behind modern civilization when we consider how capitalism impacts our culture. I believe that the amount of money you would need to make is also influenced by where you live. For instance, in a city like New York, $50,000 a year may not be enough to live super comfortably. However, if you choose to reside in a quiet town in Asia, $50,000 a year will be more than enough to have a good life. The absence of this component may force you to perform a job you don't enjoy in order to pay your expenses, which forces you to spend a lot of time and energy on something you are not passionate about. Therefore, by engaging in work that you genuinely like and can be compensated for, you are one step closer to fulfilling your Ikigai. After discussing each of the 4 Ikigai aspects, it is critical to consider how they overlap with one another and how they combine to create an Ikigai. The intriguing thing about this Japanese formula is that by examining the components you have so far, you can evaluate where you are in life and what you need to focus on. If you find something that you love and are great at, then you have what is called a passion. People that belong in this category include aspiring athletes, rappers, musicians, artists, YouTubers, and the list goes on. The main obstacle preventing you from being happy is that not a lot of people are recognizing your talent. And if they are, then they aren't paying you adequately. If you fit into this category, your main goal should be to market yourself so that you can start getting paid sufficiently. If you find something that you love and can see how the world needs it, then you have what is called a mission. People that belong in this category include activists and motivational speakers. These are people that wish to make the world a better place, but sadly, they might not have the necessary abilities to put their words into action. It's possible that you lack the capacity to carry out your plans in a way that advances your objective or have difficulty in trying to gain support for your cause. If this describes you, then you should concentrate on improving whatever it is you're lacking, and in turn, you will be rewarded because the world benefits from us when we manifest our true potential through hard work and discipline. If you find something that you are great at and get paid well for, then you have what is called a profession. The majority of people in the world work tedious 9-to-5 jobs to make ends meet. If you fall into this group, you need to try out new things and discover what it is that you genuinely enjoy doing. What's holding you back from happiness is the fact that you don't love your work or understand how any of this can actually make a difference in the world. If you find something that can help the world and get paid for, then you have what is called a vocation. Professors fall into this group because they are paid well and their work does have a beneficial impact on the world. But institutions frequently make them get into the terrible habit of teaching the same material year after year, which hinders their progress. If you fall into this group, the most important thing to make sure of is that you are continually challenging yourself to get better at your profession. What makes an Ikigai is the combination of all 4 dimensions. This means that a reason for being includes a passion, a mission, a vocation, and a profession. These are all the ingredients that facilitate us to engage in a worthwhile pursuit of meaning in our lives. To wrap this video up, here are 3 everyday Ikigai principles we can incorporate into our lives. Principle 1. Ichigai, which is a concept that advocates that we focus on the present and enjoy each moment life brings. Nothing in this world is permanent, and so we should appreciate everything that happens in our lives, both the good and the bad. We should be fully present in the moment because every moment in time is fleeting and will never come again. Now moving on to principle 2. Wabi-sabi, which means to seek beauty in the imperfections of life. Appreciate challenges because while they are uncomfortable, they are an opportunity for us to learn and grow. And lastly, principle 3. Anti-fragility. Being anti-fragile is preferable than being resilient. The resilient resists problems and stays the same, while the anti-fragile gets better after every downfall. In conclusion, the concept of Ikigai is a powerful tool for finding purpose and meaning in life. It reminds us that we all have unique talents, passions, and opportunities to contribute to the world, and that by living in alignment with these elements, we can experience greater fulfillment and joy in our lives.